my screen or if you guys were going to share it. So give me 1 second to pull my screen.
You can share it. I enabled it for you, so go ahead. Yes.
Yes, give me 1 second to bring it up.
Sure.
Technology, when you want it to work fast, it's the opposite. Okay.
All right.
So here, oops, present.
Great.
So I'm gonna be sharing information about our organization and what we do, especially with our, we call them here communities of color, or clients that for the most part are not able to obtain financing elsewhere, and we make sure that we can help them so they can have access to small loans. And this is the map of the territory we cover. We serve mostly Philadelphia, and our organization has been open for 24 years. And in July 2020, we merged with a larger organization that is able to provide larger loans up to $3 million. So at FINANTA, we were doing loans, microloans, 50,000 and under, and with Community First Fund, we can do up to 3 million. And so this is very important because now as a larger organization, we have a larger territory that we can cover. Here is a little bit of a graphic of a reflection of Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the poorest metropolitan city in the entire nation. And you get to see that 41% of our community is Black, 35% white, and then we have a big Latino community in Philadelphia and an big Asian community as well. At FINANTA, we have 3 loan programs. We have our business loans. These are loans that are typically less than 250,000, and they are used for working capital, equipment, or inventory. We have a lot of small businesses, restaurants, or coffee shops, beauty salons, and these small loans are very helpful. And I forgot, before we continue, I forgot to mention a little bit about myself, just so you know my role in the organization. I've been at this organization for almost 13 years, and I manage the microlending department. We can do loans in my department up to 25,000. So very, very small loans that have a huge impact. We work with first-time borrowers that probably they've never borrowed before for their business, and we help them connect with resources. And I believe in a little bit later, you'll get to see some of our staff, but I manage 8 people, and we're hiring a few more to help with our loan volume. Yeah. Some of the accomplishments for the department under my leadership is that we became the #1 SBA microlender in the entire region. So imagine Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey were producing the largest volume. And we've been in the top 10 position for the past 9 years, which is great. Okay. We also have mortgages for first-time buyers. And we don't have a minimum credit score, which is the system that the United States uses to analyze applicants. And we can connect them with different resources. And these are small amounts based on the properties in the area. So we can do up to $160,000. And I would like to highlight that 85% of our clients that have been able to purchase their homes were declined by banks, and we were able to help them. So 85%. And this is a picture of an actual family that bought their home. We helped them obtain a grant for $10,800 that they use for down payment and closing costs, and they were able to buy their first home. Okay. So the affinity group, actually, I'll show you this first. So we have an innovative approach to help small business owners. It's not a secret that banks are not making small loans because they don't generate a lot of profit or a lot of interest. So in our case, we make it kind of like a personal mission to create an innovative program that can attract and help clients that are excluded from the financial system. And this is a map of the lending circles, or in the United States, we call them ROSCAs, and it stands for Rotating Savings and Credit Association. And Ivana, feel free to tell me how you call them in Egypt. So this is a practice where a group of people get together and they borrow from one another and they alternate until everybody has gotten his or her turn. Do you know?
I think it's a group lending, right?
Yes.
Yes. They actually, CEOSS, I forgot to mention this, but they do run a really large microcredit. They actually have a whole department dedicated to microloans. So I'm sure this will come up later during the discussion. And
good.
This will be a good comparison, how you guys do it, how they do it.
Oh, excellent.
Good exchange, yes.
Yes. So this is the map of the world. As you can see, all over the world, every community uses this practice to borrow or lend money. And I always joke, I'm from the Dominican Republic. It's a small island in the Caribbean. And I always joke that I thought we invented it because I always saw my mother doing this, even though we had access to the banks or she traveled for her business, but this was something cultural that it's a cultural practice. So what we have done is we have formalized that practice. We took components from the lending circle and we converted into an affinity group circle or lending program. And how it works is that a group of people gets together, typically 6 to 10. They know each other, so they have to have any type of affinity. Maybe they've been friends for a long time, or they've been going together to the same committee. So they have some type of relationship, existing relationship before they come to FINANTA. Yes, and once the group is identified, I'm trying to look at the chart out here. Once the group is identified, oops, then FINANTA gives a small loan to all the participants. And the loan could be very micro, $1,000 or up to $3,600, and they repay it back after 1 year. We do not alternate, so everybody gets their loan at the same time. So on the closing day, everybody gets their loan. Once each client receives their loan, they become, part of our family, right? And the program also comes with technical assistance, which means that it's not a secret that our small businesses need everything. They need technology, they need bookkeeping, they may need knowledge about social media or marketing. And above all, a financial plan, how much money comes in, how much money comes out, and credit assistance. And Amal can tell me if I'm going too fast.
Very good, dear, very good. Thank you very much.
Good. So this financial action plan is personalized. So we sit down with every client and we make a budget. We ask them questions. How much money do you spend when you buy a coffee or when you cut your hair? And we make sure that we are able to understand the financial situation. And from there, how can we help them grow their business based on the information we have? And another component, which is highly important or very important, is our monthly workshops. Our small businesses are interested in learning more and better practices on how to better manage their operations. So topics could be around accounting or bookkeeping, or even their credit. And something that now after COVID, very popular is technology. And once the 12-month ends, they can enroll into subsequent cycles. The idea of the program is that you can start small with very small microloan, and then from there, how can we help you grow your business? And a good example would be somebody who wants to buy their commercial building. Maybe they've been at their business for a long time and they're not reporting all their income, or maybe they don't have all the paperwork in order. And then for us is how can we help them get everything in order so they can borrow a loan to buy their building, to expand or purchase more inventory? How can they grow their business? How can we help them grow their business? And this is important for us because when you put into context that each loan that we make costs us $2,000 or $3,000, around $2,500. So imagine each loan costs us $2,500 and we're lending $1,200. That means that it takes such a great effort to help our small businesses, and not many organizations are interested in this type of work because it really takes a lot of hours, a lot of training, patience, to make sure that we are able to provide our small businesses with the tools they need to grow and succeed. So for us, and I can give you an example, I believe it's here. Oops, computer, I think, oops, just froze. So when we analyzed why people were interested in joining the program, we realized that it goes beyond the money. We can see, and this is probably, I can show you the original presentation, but I can show you here that in all these little, I guess, bubbles, you get to see that clients are interested in credit building, networking opportunities. They're interested in business training. So not always money is the main factor. There's other things that our small businesses are looking for. Would it be easier if I showcase the version in Arabic, maybe? That way it would be easier to follow. Let's see, we can try that. Oops.
Do you have it in Arabic?
Oh, here. Can you see it?
I posted it on the
lovely.
chat box.
Okay,
Oh, lovely.
Yes,
Yes,
I guess
yes,
it
we
would
can
be
see it.
easier.
Yeah, lovely, lovely.
Okay,
Excellent.
yeah. Let's see. Oh, but it's let's see, transitions. I don't know how to make it design, maybe? No, oh, slideshow. Here. Okay, better. Okay, we cover this. This. Okay, yep. And this is the process that we use to review the enrollment for our clients. And I want to highlight that our loans are character-based, which means that, yes, we fill out an application, we'll review taxes and credit, but the character of the person is very important. If they can explain why they have a low credit score, why they couldn't pay a debt, or why their business is not making money, but they have the desire to learn new things and grow their business, we can give them an opportunity and get them a small loan. And even now, or especially now after COVID, it gave us an opportunity to help our own clients. When COVID hit, a lot of the banks were not helping anyone or got very strict guidelines. So it gave us an opportunity to help our community and our clients because even with a small loan, $5,000 or $10,000, that amount would be enough to maybe sustain a small business for 6 months or more. But if banks are not lending and we're not lending either, so how can they survive? So these type of programs are very important. Yes, everything is treated as a loan, and we do ask for business information, taxes, bank account information, and one of the main components is the budget. We make sure that we understand how much money each person is making and how much money they're spending on their business. And we review both budgets, one for the person and one for the business. And is, again, very granular from how much money you send overseas or you spend on coffee to car payments or loan payments and all those things. This is a profile of our client demographic. 95% of the clients we serve are minority or people of color. 69% are immigrant, and 48% are women. I recently hired last year our first Asian lender. She's from Indonesia. So we've been able to do loans in the Indonesian community. So I believe 23% now, or around 24% of our loans are from clients from Indonesia. In the program, in close to 10 years, almost 10 years of existence, we have done $7.2 million in loans, almost 1,700 microloans, which comes again with a huge responsibility for how can we continue elevating these clients. And because of our work in 2016, we were awarded the Small Business Administration Mission Lender of the Year Award, the Jody Raskin Award. Okay. This is a success story for one of our clients. I always think very visual, so I always like to showcase the trajectory. So this is Sylvia's Bakery, and this is the before and after pictures. she came to FINANTA in 2015, and we gave her a $3,000 loan. So she came to the Affinity Group Lending Department, and at that time, she didn't have good credit, she wasn't reporting a lot of income, and she couldn't get a larger loan, which she wanted to buy a real estate. Do you want to say something, Ivana?
No. I'm just listening.
Okay. Yeah, so we first helped her obtain a $10,000 grant. Here in Philadelphia, we have different organizations that help clients with grants. It's a lot of paperwork. I don't know how it's in Egypt, but here is a lot of paperwork. And it's hard for our small businesses to do it on their own. So we do that for them. And we help her with a grant. And then we gave her a loan to buy the two properties that were next to the original bakery on the left, because she wanted to expand it. That couldn't happen, and after 2 years of negotiations and working with the city, we found a larger property with a parking space, and we thought this was a better location for her. And keep in mind, Sylvia is not bilingual, so we help her in every step of the way, with the contractors that were going to do the renovations, with the company that was going to provide all the new equipment. And even with projections to see how much money she was going to generate in a location that was 3 times the size of her old location. She went from a 500 square feet into a 1,500 square feet location. She moved, she was able to move last December. It will be 1 year this week. And something significant that we were able to do for her was that we connected her with a city grant, and the city gave her $243,000 to support this project. So imagine, she went from 2015, she started with 3,600. Then in 2019, the total cost of the project was close to 700,000. So that's the power of the microloans. You can achieve so many things when we give our small businesses an opportunity to grow, to connect them with resources, and just to make sure that they have what they need, because sometimes they don't know what they need. And these are some pictures of our groups and our clients. One of these is a class that we did for our clients, actually with Power Up with Herman, the first Power Up in Spanish. And is a huge accomplishment because when you have a set of requirements for small businesses that they need to have certain amount of employees or certain amount of income, you are excluding when programs do that, they are excluding a big amount of clients that want to learn how to better manage their businesses, but they're not making $200,000. They don't have 3 employees. They only have 1 or maybe themselves. So through these programs, we are able to break these barriers and making sure that our clients have the tools they need to be successful. And one of the success stories from that class was one of the clients shared that after he took this class, he started implementing new practices and what he learned, and he was saving $1,000 every month, every week with the new changes he was making. I think that's the last one. Yep. So I don't know if anyone has any additional questions or any highlights.
I think we might have some questions. I'm trying to see who raised hand. I think I see Nabil. Nabil, go ahead.
اوكي امل انا بس يعني الاول بشكرها على العرض الرائع.
Thank you very much for this terrific presentation, and thank you so much also for such really massive effort and also the massive number of loans. Obviously here you're a well-established institution, and the fact here that you have also ranked and achieved really high ranking against some other financial institutions, this shows that you are really well established and have great experience. I have a question in terms of mortgage, housing mortgage particularly. Mortgage, again, typically here, there's a problem really here with risks of payment or repayment risks here. Do you have similar problems? Do you have similar challenge? And how have you been able to mitigate such repayment risk? Typically here, profit-oriented businesses, they have less risks, but mortgages and housing mortgages or mortgages intended to buy some housing arrangement or to do some renovation would actually involve some risks. So what interventions do you introduce to be able to mitigate or to contain such risks and address them? Thank you very much. Because again, housing mortgages for housing arrangements, typically here, they are not, the people will not generate profit out of these businesses. So how do you intervene in such a situation?
Yes, thank you for the question. For us, it's important to first understand the real financial situation of the person who is applying. I think is not a secret that people are excited when they want to buy their first home, and they sometimes buy more than what they can afford. So for us, that's the first step. We spend a lot of time working with clients, making sure they understand if they have all the things they need to afford a mortgage, if they have savings, if they have addressed any credit items, and if they can live comfortably with the amount that they are approved. So I'm happy to say that since 2009, when we started doing mortgages, we've never had any default or any charge off. We've made a few payment plans But for the most part, we always make sure that whatever amount is approved is because somebody can afford it and they can live comfortably and make their payments comfortably as well. And that is very challenging because who wouldn't like to live in a mansion? But when you bring people to the reality of their finances, I think that's the first step to help them with home ownership. And in the sense of value, in Philadelphia, we have different areas. We have fancy areas that we call them center city, or we have other smaller community areas. So that is also a lot of technical assistance and consulting, because we want to make sure that people understand in center city, a home is going to be $500,000, but in another area, it may be 150. So I hope that answers his question, I hope. And also, I would like to add that the educational component is very important because mortgages are very complex. And it's a huge commitment, imagine 15 or 30 years. So we make sure that we take our time explaining the process to every person that comes to the mortgage department.
هو يرد، بس انا يمكن المشكله عندنا ان احنا بنتعامل مع
It does really answer to the question here, but in Egypt, typically here, we actually again really receive people who are actually low income populations and poor people who can not really afford high interest loans or loans actually that they have to pay at high interest, and they don't even have access to banks in the first place. They don't have credit capacity here. They don't have access to the banks. They don't have collaterals, for example, or guarantees that they can use to access loans at the bank. Here's the dilemma. They need a loan, and at the same time, they might not be able to afford it. There's always really payment and repayment risks, and the risk that they won't be able to afford it and pay it back. And even when I try to reduce the amount of the loan to try to also mitigate the risk of repayment, still the loan amount that they will end up getting might not really be enough or sufficient for them to buy some housing arrangement. And this is the dilemma again, or this is the challenge that we find ourselves caught up in. That we want to help them, but at the same time, they might not be able to afford the loan that they would end up getting.
Yes, I see. For us, we have a similar problem, and I think for us, that's why we decided to go into the mortgage, arena, because banks were very strict. They didn't want to approve people that needed the homes. So we fundraise money to create this program. So I don't know if that could be an option to partner with an organization that is able to, another nonprofit that is able to fundraise money, and then you are in charge of your own criteria. If 84% of our clients were rejected by banks, that means that these clients were not given an opportunity by another financial institution, but we were able to help them. So I think that's the difference when we have these community organizations that are more flexible.
Can I add to that? Can I add maybe to this question? Maybe it would help to clarify kind of how is your mortgage conditions, how are they different from the bank? Do you have maybe a practical comparison in terms of like size, interest rate, in terms of repayment? And I think maybe it would be encouraging to our colleagues at CEOSS if you can comment on kind of how much of the risk do you take as an organization for giving these mortgages to people who banks don't approve and consider them risky? And how did that, like, was that worth it? And you know, what happened with the risk that you took, and how did you protect yourself as an organization who does give access to mortgages?
Yes, I think for us, being a character-based lender is the first differentiator in the first component, because when you see clients with the same level of respect, with the same level of kindness, you get that back. So our clients are very transparent. They will tell you, oh, I have 10,000 under my mattress or in my closet. I have a job on the side. I make $10,000. So that is the first difference between us and a bank. We really get to have an honest and candid conversation with our clients, and they can see that we have their best interest. So when they come to us, they tell us all the information, but also they are open to our feedback. So when we tell them, no, you cannot afford 300,000, you can only afford 50, they understand. Or it could be that right now you are not ready, you need to save more money and wait 1 year, and they come back in a year. So for us, that is very important, because during that year, we're following up, we're making sure clients have what they need. So I think that would be the main difference. And then the other question you said about the documentation, surprisingly, we have the same type of documentation. The difference is that the explanations or the criteria is less strict. So if you give us an explanation for something that may not look good and is an acceptable explanation, we can take that. And if somebody needs a payment plan, we are the first one telling them, look, we're happy to help. How can we help you? Maybe, so that is very important. And with regards to closing fees, we try to be very mindful as well. We only charge what we are, the expenses we are incurring. We don't charge more. And when you compare other organizations or other banks, they have all these fees and all these charges. So we try to be very transparent and very honest about the cost of doing these loans. Is any additional explanations, or was that okay?
لا أنا بالنسبة لي تمام، ده مقبول يعني زي الفل.
No, this is really very sufficient and very sufficient. But there's another question from Marianne. Marianne had another question. If you have time, Kersy.
I'm gonna see if I can cancel my other meeting.
Thank you so much, Kersy, for this presentation. And thank you so much also here for also making a link also here between financial services, taking into account the best interest of your clients and trying to also accommodate their non-financial needs, such as housing needs. But can you tell us more about the process or the criteria against which you provide services and consultation. When you provide counseling services or consultation services, do you provide everybody with such services? And if there are certain really here criteria, can you explain what criteria you use in order to
أمل أنا ممكن أكمل على سؤال مريم.
and who does not need such services? Susan also has something else to say based on the question that was just raised by Marianne.
لأنه يعني قريب قوي من سؤال مريم فكرة.
It's very, again, I will build on the question or expand on the question that was just raised by Marianne.
كانت قالت إنه
as part of this presentation,
بيتحققوا من إنه المشروع ده هيحقق ربح ولا لا.
validate actually whether this business is going to be profitable or not, or is going to actually be quite successful or not. Can you actually tell us more about when does this happen, when this validation or verification happens? Like, do you actually ask them for some business plan before the business starts, or do you, for example, get them to take a loan and as they operate and run their business, you ask them to provide some evidence, for example, here? How about also the technical support? Do you provide technical support before the business starts or as part of the business implementation cycle? Thank you very much.
Yes, let me see if I got them all here. With regards to the business plan, we have been very flexible. We try not to, again, have barriers that can prevent small businesses from accessing our loans. So we've been very flexible. That doesn't mean that if somebody has an idea that it may not make sense, that we would give them the loan. But if they know what they're doing, if they have all the things they need to do, we can give them a small loan. So we do not require a business plan. If they're looking for something more, let's say they need $50,000 or $100,000, then, oops, my phone that rings in my computer. If they need a larger amount, hold on, let me close this. Close this. If they need a larger amount, then we would send them with a small business development center, with an SBDC that can help them develop a business plan. So in some cases, yes, they will need a business plan when they need a specific information or marketing. The other question with regards to the technical assistance, yes, the program is very hands-on. I think that's why the program has been successful, because it's like a baby. You first learn how to crawl, then you walk, and then you run. So our businesses are the same way. They need to crawl, right? And then when they're ready to start walking, it's just a lot easier. So technical assistance could be connecting them with resources, like the business classes we did with Herman, or helping them understand how the operations of their business work, or something like credit. We work a lot here with the client at personal credit report. So even though our loans are character-based, we still need to see all the information, all taxes. We ask them what's going on with the money, or additional clarifications if we see something weird.
تمام، شكرا.
شكرا.
شكرا يا أمل. لا، هي ردت على استفساري. شكرا لكيرسي.
Thank you very much, Kersy. This answers her question, Marianne's and Susie's questions.
Great.
Well, there's also here some question coming from Magda. She says, actually, do you still really try to show flexibility even during the COVID-19 situation, with COVID-19 crisis in the midst of this poor economic decline and poor economic slowdown that we are currently witnessing? So do you still really try to show flexibility even with the poor economic situation and declining economic progress? 2021.
Yes, especially now.
في سؤال.
Especially now, I think we play such an important role. We have done close to 100 loans between July and December, November, which is very close to what we did last year in 2019. You get to see the importance of the relationship we have with our clients, because even though their businesses are closed, we can give them a small loan knowing that when they open, they're gonna generate money and pay us back. And you can only do that when you have that level of trust. If something goes wrong, they are the first one calling and saying, I need help, or I cannot make a payment. So it's a different type of relationship. And it makes a huge difference. And with regards to now with COVID, everything changed. So all the meetings are virtual, and we have clients that never knew how to use the computer, Zoom, they didn't know it existed. And now we're changing, we have to change. The same thing with technology, filling out applications online to get grants. All the grant programs were sending information via email and DocuSign to sign electronically, and our clients didn't know how to do that. So we had to change everything and create new programs, new training programs to help them access all the grants and help them fill out the applications. That was very, a lot of work, but totally worth it because nobody else is doing it. Everybody else, I can tell you, is a lot of organizations are afraid to learn or are taking kind of like the easy way out. And then for us is like, now we're working harder. Now we know our clients need us the most. So we have a strong commitment to help our clients that really needs us.
أمل عندي سؤال يا أمل.
Murad had a question also.
Are you okay, Kersy? Can you still stay with us?
Yes, let me put myself in mute to send a message. Yes, I'm trying to stay until 1:30.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Just 1 minute, yeah. We'll give her a chance to reschedule another meeting.
أنا بشكرهم في البداية على البرزنتيشن الرائع دوت.
So Kersy, I will tell the question until you. Well, thank you very much for this actually presentation and also for providing such services. Obviously, here you provide financial services and non-financial services or social services at the same time. It's really great here that you as an organization combine both really here aspects of services, financial, non-financial services. But my question also to you here, what about your experience with small businesses, the lending experiences, the $1,200 to $3,600 loans here? These, I think you consider these micro loans. In Egypt, we have really similar situation. We have similar also here segments and populations in rural Egypt. People with challenges. The people have also certain challenges and commitments in relation to education, for example. So also given the situation with COVID-19, what challenges have you been able to identify and what recommendations did you provide would you like to provide us in interacting with the small business owners and also the challenges that they face, particularly again in rural Egypt? Much of the population actually is illiterate. They don't have much experience with technology. They don't have much experience with, of course, marketing. The businesses themselves are different from the businesses that you have in the US. So what experiences do you have? What challenges did you face? What recommendations, suggestions? Again, and also taking into account that in Egypt we have a different situation, we have a different reality, again, or a reality that's relatively different from the reality you have in Philadelphia.
That's a great question, because what's happening again is that a lot of the organizations that can help are not helping. So we always, especially my way of approaching the challenges that our small businesses face, is to tell our staff, we are not social workers, we are lenders, we are a lending institution. And what that is making for us is that we are able to connect our clients with the resources they need. Because think about it, our small businesses need everything. So they need marketing, technology, social media, maybe they have health issues, maybe they need assistance paying their rent. So many, many challenges. And at some point we were doing that, but that's not sustainable because we cannot be everything to everybody. We could if we have like 15 different departments within FINANTA, but we don't. So our staff was had a huge burden. We weren't being effective because we're doing too many things. So 4 years ago, we decided, what can we do well? What things can we do and do them well? So out of all these 50 things that our small businesses need, we decided that credit was one of them because it opens many doors, that connecting them with resources was also one of them, and one of those resources are grants, because that's free money, they don't have to pay back, it's just a free money they can get. So we made it our priority to do all those three things, connecting them with resources. So if they need food, we go to this organization, they can help you with food. If they need help paying the rent, we'll send you to this organization that can help you pay rent. If you need a loan, then we can help you get ready for a larger loan. So that's how we've been doing it for the past probably 4 years. And we find it to be more efficient that way. And also, if I can add that, because we have a good relationship with our clients, they tell us everything. So they tell us if they have problems at home, if they have problems with their children. So I think for us is a way to also not burden our lenders with all these personal problems. So when they hear these things, then we're able to connect them with someone, with an expert who can help them. I'm not a psychologist or, a personal coach. So it helps us connect them with the appropriate professional.
What's the percentage of, among all your clients, like how would you can estimate, what is the percentage of kind of like extremely poor or like extremely marginalized groups that do get help from your programs?
Yes, when we do our analysis historically, it has been kind of the same. It ranges between 85–90%. And I can tell you sometimes it is because that's how it is reported on paper. So maybe they are making more money, but they are not reporting it. So on paper, they are poor. And the other way to look at it is that they are considered low income because they don't have access to things that other people could have, like a savings plan or money to go to college, to send their kids to college, or money for retirement. So they, like these big percentage of clients are in this bucket considered low income. So it's, yeah, historically it's been very high for us. 85, 90% of the clients we serve are low income or extremely low.
I think we maybe have the next question from Maggot.
معاك يا أمل. أنا في البداية عاوز أشكرها على العرض الجيد والخبرة.
Thank you very much for this good presentation and for this also experience. My question, back to this idea actually of the group lending, of affinity group lending program, particularly in terms of the fourth step, stage number 4, when the borrower again has received adequate capacity building and training, and now he or she is going to graduate or qualified for graduation. Again, what criteria do you have in place against which you would make this decision, or that he or she is eligible for graduation again? So also, what capacity building interventions do you provide? What topics or training topics do you address with them as part of this qualification process?
That's a great question. When we first created the program, we thought that after 3 years, clients were going to graduate and move on and have a perfect credit, a perfect financial system, but that's not the reality. It really takes our small businesses a longer time, 5 years, 6 years, to get ready for a huge, like a larger loan. But something interesting also happened. Our small businesses, and I imagine it might be the same in Egypt, our small businesses are very isolated. They work long hours, they're by themselves, they don't know a lot of people. So this program created like a social network, and people value that. So if you are a photographer and I make cakes, now we know each other, and whenever I have an event, then I'll connect with you so that I can bake a cake. So we started seeing that type of synergy and good relationships with our clients. So that's something that came out of forming groups. And what we're seeing is that people don't want to leave their groups. We have clients that are in their 7th cycle. So imagine they've been with us almost 10 years. They have individual loans, so they went ahead and they got $100,000, $200,000 loan, but they stayed with the group. And is an interesting, I guess, outcome, because we didn't know people wanted to be like on an endless program, but they value, they help one another, they support each other. And now that we had this crisis, they also saw the value of being in a group, because they were participating more in the workshops or helping one another with ideas. So I think, I don't know if we will ever stop a group, if maybe we say after 5 years, that's it. But we're trying to figure out, I think that goes to say that our small businesses need all the support they can get. So even though they have a larger loan, they still need the support of the group, the support of like their knowledge, connecting them with resources.
So so you haven't graduated. This is me asking really to try to get elaboration. So none of your actually clients ever graduated from the groups, or has there been?
We call it graduation. They graduate every year when they finish.
Please go ahead, Kersy, and I will get the question from Rod.
Okay, yeah. When they finish their loan cycle, we call them graduates because they get into another cycle, or they can get an individual loan. But we haven't stopped anybody from enrolling in another cycle. Not yet.
لا كنت هقول لو في مانيوال معين بيستخدم في الجزء
Do you have some manual around, again, really some of the education materials or education manuals for some content knowledge around technical support and technical assistance you have for the business owners? I mean, if you have such really materials, can you share them if available and if appropriate? So feel free not to share them if you feel like this is not a good request to make.
Yeah, I'll be happy to share everything we need. One organization alone is not enough to solve all our problems, so we have to be united. Also, if Ivana is the best contact, I can share additional information. We always get different articles or reports about our small businesses, so I'll be happy to share them with Ivana.
Anything you might have, please, just pass it on to me and I'll share with our colleagues. Thank you so much.
Sure.
شكرا جدا.
Thank you very much.
شكرا.
شكرا
جدا. Can I ask one question? And sorry, I hope I'm not getting into, and hopefully this is a helpful question, out of curiosity. I noticed that in one of your case stories, like success stories, you were talking about a lady who had a bakery, and then you helped her actually purchase a space where she had a bigger business. And from some personal experience with several friends here in DC area, this is a very important distinction between owning a space where you work versus renting it. And in the US, this is often an impediment to small businesses because the rents tend to go high every year. And I know several friends who actually owned restaurants who went out of business because of ridiculously high rents that actually pushed them out. And some big chain businesses, franchises are the only ones that can actually operate, within this high cost. And then I know some other restaurant owners who actually went the other way and they decided to purchase the real estate where they host the business. And so far that worked out okay. And it seems like it's one of the factors that's securing their sustainability. And I'm just curious if you have any observations in that front. And I'm just also wondering if that's comparable to Egypt, and is this in CEOSS strategy, does this play a role kind of helping small business owners not only develop their small businesses, but also deal with the rising costs of rents and kind of facilities where they host businesses?
Yes, I can tell you, yes, totally same here. Home ownership and also being owner of your commercial building is very important. Small businesses are very unprotected when it comes to evictions, or like if a new person comes and buys the building, they can just evict the business owner even if they have a lease. So all these challenges. So for us, that is a priority. And even so, there are some clients join the program because down the road, that's their goal. They want to buy their commercial building, and maybe they don't know how the process is. Maybe they don't have a lot of savings, or maybe their credit is not good. So by entering the affinity group lending program, it gives them an opportunity for us to get to know them better, and we can take a chance and give them a larger loan. So Sylvia is a good example. We also have another client who owns a barber shop. We have clients that have grocery stores, and building assets. It's important, creating that type of security that you know you're not going to be evicted. So sometimes it could take a couple of years, or sometimes it could take just 1 year to get somebody ready so they can purchase their own commercial building. And what was the other question? You asked about the being an owner of the building and something else?
I think that was about it. I just kind of like, I was also asking from CEOSS side, like, is that also a factor? And that was the general question, like, when you help them develop as a small business, do you also advise them to, you know, go towards ownership versus renting, or?
Yeah, and even if you think about that concept as well, being a landlord, because sometimes their business is on the first floor, they have a rental space on the second floor. So now these small businesses are landlords. And one of the things that we always try to do is tell them what are the requirements, because here in Philadelphia, we have many regulations for landlords. What are their requirements to make sure they have a signed lease? So those things are like, it brings another set of challenges as well. But yes, for us, buying real estate for our clients is a high priority. Helping them acquire real estate to stabilize their businesses is a high priority.
عندي سؤال يا أمل لو ممكن.
We have a question from Rafiq, Kersy.
2 minutes. You have 2 more minutes, Kersy. Is it okay?
I was able to cancel my other meeting, so I'm good until 2.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
عندها وقت يعني. طيب احنا حظنا حلو ان الاجتماع الثاني هي لغيتها.
So we're very fortunate really that your other meeting has been called off. This means here that we're starting really a good relationship. You're starting a good relationship with CEOSS. Thank you very much for this really wonderful presentation, for this new experience as well that we are finding really very beneficial and useful, particularly in terms of mortgages and also for like small business loans and credit. Borrowers, again, you talked already about earlier that some of the borrowers have been with the program now for 10 years and they would like to continue to be part of those groups. So the question here, are there any specific advantages or like certain advantages that attract them and keep them attracted and encouraged to be part of this program? Can you talk about some specific, again, advantages? Also, do you get them also here classified into different levels? For example, here, to those who have been a 1-year borrowers are different from those who have been 10 years borrowers, for example. So do you classify them into different groups? Also here, how about the fees also here? Do the fees, again, differ and vary based on how many years they have been with the program or how long they have been with the program?
Yes, great question. So we do classify them based on how long they've been in the program.
بناء على فعلا مدة انضمامهم إلى
First
البرنامج.
cycle, They can get $1,000 or $3,000. On the second cycle, they can get up to $7,000.
بالفعل اللي في الدورة الأولى ممكن يحصلوا على $1,000 $2,000 في الدورة الثانية ممكن يحصلوا على $7,000 قرض. المبالغ نفسها Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't switch into Arabic. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Say that again, sorry. Start again, Kersy, sorry.
Yes. I was saying that we do classify them, that when, like for example, on the first cycle, clients can get $1,000 or up to $3,600. On the second cycle, maybe they can get up to $5,000, and they can go up to $25,000. So that's the maximum amount we can do in the affiliate group lending department. So clients that have been after the fourth cycle or on the fifth cycle, they can access $25,000. So that's a huge incentive, because when you, like $25,000 for our small businesses is a lot of money. And they can choose to pay back that in 12 months or 24 months. And the maximum would be 24 months. But we find that after 7,000, people typically prefer 24 months and not 12. So that has helped a lot of the groups that are on their fourth or fifth cycle stay together, because everybody can get 20 or 25,000. And they like that. I think even if they have a larger loan, every 2 years getting 25,000 for their business is good. And in addition to that, the technical assistance that they continue to receive is very valuable. Things change very, very fast in the business world. So that way clients can get up to date with different information or programs. So they value the monthly workshops. They continue to attend our monthly workshops. Not every month, but they do take advantage of that, or the classes that they receive. Maybe when they reach a certain level that they can have other things, they may not be interested in the program, but as they continue to be considered a small business, I think for them it's important to have that relationship with us. And lastly, there's a reality that whenever there is a program or whenever there's free money or any incentive, the city, for example, they don't go out to the street to say, oh, we have this program or this incentive. They reach out to organizations like ours to let them know that there's a new program. And if you are not our client, you may not find out what's going on, or if that there's a certain incentives or free money. So I think our clients have noticed that they don't want to feel that they're left out, or they want to feel close to someone. And I don't know if in Egypt the expression of having a godfather will apply, but you want somebody that is always like taking care of you, and that's what we've seen with our clients. We have probably 400 active clients in my department, and every year we close 320 loans, consumers and businesses. And the other question with regards to the fees, we always try to keep that at a minimum. And I can give you an example. For a $1,200 loan, the total interest that it generates in the entire year is $59.
Sorry, Kersy, say that again, please.
Oh, yes. The fees that the client incurs when they close a loan or when they graduate from cycle to cycle, they're mostly dictated by the Small Business Administration. So the closing cost is 3% of what we're lending them. If we're giving them 10,000, then it's 300. But if we're giving them 1,200, I think it's $24.
I'm sorry, Kersy, but the voice is cutting off. Can you repeat the numbers again?
Yes. So for the closing costs are dictated by the Small Business Administration, and it's 3% of the loan amount. So for a
3%?
3%. So for a $1,200 loan, I think it's $24. So it's very, very minimal. And then the rate, the total, not the rate, the total interest that they pay for $1,200 is $59. And we don't charge, for now, we don't charge clients an application fee or to pull their credit, even though that costs us money. We don't charge clients for none of that. It may change in the future, but for now, we're not charging that. Yeah, so for these type of programs, that's why we need money from outside to support it, because what it generates is not enough to sustain it.
أشكرك شكرا.
Yes, thank you very much, Kersy.
عندي سؤال يا أمل. يعني أنا طبعا بشكرهم على المجهود في إن هم بيكتسبوا العملاء بغض النظر عن الأرباح.
Very much really here, because obviously here you're actually here favoring clients to profit and making profit. But typically here also any lending organization has to be also profit oriented. You're not really giving much attention to profitability as well. But profitability means also sustainability. So the margin profit you're making here, how do you make at least profit, margin profits or marginal profits that can help you also cover your operating costs? Where do you get this from? Particularly obviously that you're favoring clients and favoring clients' interests over your own profitability and profit potential.
Yeah, great question. So FINANTA as an institution is 60% sustainable with money that comes from larger loans like mortgages or business loans that that we can do. We also in our office have a rental space, we have solar panels, so we have different sources of income. But really, the small loan is, or the microloan is a platform to obtain larger loans. So the $1,000 doesn't generate any interest, but when we help a client obtain a $100,000 loan, then that helps the organization. And we couldn't reach that client if they didn't start small. So that's how we see the profitability. We don't think of ourselves in a way that we need to calculate or measure the return on investment or how many loans we need to make to break even. We don't analyze the department like that. We can see other benefits as a result of the microloans. And the SBA it is our main funder. So we get funds from the SBA, from the city of Philadelphia, from the state as well, because they understand the work we do cannot be, you cannot analyze the profit that way, because I think the last analysis we made, we had to make minimum loans of $75,000 in order to generate a profit. So when you compare 1,000 versus 75, it's a huge difference. Not everybody's ready to apply for 75. And even an example is Delaware. We were invited to the state of Delaware because none of the banks want to do loans that are less than 50 or 25,000. So imagine if you only need 5, you cannot get a small loan. 5,000 or 10,000, because not everybody needs a larger amount, or they may not be ready. If you have a brand new business, you're not ready to pay all these loans. So that's how we look at the program. We want to make sure that we know it's not going to generate any money, that we may lose money on every loan that we make, but that we can offset that when we graduate clients into other programs, or when the city or the state supports what we do.
تمام، شكرا.
Thank you very much.
Great. I think if there are no more questions, we can. Oh, wait, maybe.
More?
Do we have another question? No. Okay. All right. So in that case, we will let you go, even though it's like 45 minutes later than what we.
I think there was a misunderstanding on my part, because we're switching, since we merged, we're switching our calendars, and it's been very, very messy. So originally only booked 1 hour, but I looked at the invitation and it had an hour and a half. But yes, I'm happy I was able to stay, and this has been a great, great conversation. Lots of good questions.
Thank you so much for your time. I think in our previous online programs, we invented a new way for applause. It's like for the Zoom, we just do this to show our appreciation, because it's kind of hard to clap. So I invite everybody to do a round of applause for our speaker and for all the participants, for all the great questions, for our brave interpreter.
Yeah.
We really have to give special round of applause for Amal. She's been so great catching on with everything. As usually, we invite, everybody who participated today to continue to share information. Feel free to use me and Herman as a point of contact for any additional resources, for sharing, for any additional questions. We encourage each other to follow each other on Facebook as well. Now all our organizations have Facebook pages, so please, connect on Facebook. We will connect with FINANTA, and we'll follow each other's work, and hopefully we will be looking for the opportunity to do more of exchanges like this. And hopefully when travel becomes possible again, we would love to host in-person visits in Philly and in Egypt as well. So we need to continue this friendship between Philadelphia and Egypt. Thank you everybody for being with us today, and see you guys, see us colleagues, I guess on Thursday, so day after tomorrow, for another meeting. I'm sure, Kersy, you know the Temple University small group.
Yes, they're great, excellent. With Maura.
That's our next.
Excellent, good. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to continuing the relationship and staying connected. I'll share information. So if you give me a few days, Ivana, I can share definitely useful information that for you to share with the group.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye, lovely lady. We have the youngest participant here. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
باي باي شكرا. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
شكرا Awi. Good night.
Bye.
باي باي.
باي.
وانتم من اهله. باي باي.
سلام يا امل. باي باي. ان شاء الله.
باي.